series where we take a look at popular board games and how they play for two players. This time, we're heading into the rustic monster-filled Viking village of Champions of Midgard. This 2 to 4 player game, designed by Ole Steiness, is a dice-chucking spin on the worker placement genre. It puts players in control of a small band of Viking workers who need to hire warriors in order to protect their land from trolls, monsters, and Draugr. We don't know what that last one is either, but they look plenty dangerous. In recent years, there has been a boatload of Viking-based board games, and this is the most action-packed of the bunch. Let's take a look at how it plays.
Each turn in Champions of Midgard can be broken into 2 key phases. The first is classic worker placement to gain various benefits including meat, wood, coins, quests, one-time abilities, and various warriors, as well as signing those warriors up for battles against the monsters that ravage your land, which brings us to the second half of each round. After all the workers have been placed, players assign their warrior dice to fight in the battles that they've chosen, and then roll those warriors in a bloody war, which is actually a really quick check of hits versus defense that usually lasts maybe 1 or 2 rolls. These battles are split into the trolls, who bring shame to anyone who doesn't fight them, the Draugr, who are more or less straight up battles, and monsters from distant lands that have higher risk reward ratios and need boats to get to. And you'll also have to feed your Viking meat on the way, because Viking digestive systems can't process anything other than meat. It's a fairly simple system that is explained well in the rules, and you'll have it down after a round or 2 of play.
So, how does it work for 2 players? Pretty well for the most part. The biggest difference will be in the availability of spots. A couple of merchant spaces are added for 3 or 4, but with more players there'll be fewer opportunities to hire warriors and gain resources, and fewer monsters to battle, so it becomes a bit more of a race to those good spots. With 2 players, the game opens up a bit and becomes more about creating your own best strategy and maximizing your battles. That isn't to say the 2-player game doesn't have a race for spaces. Some monsters are more valuable than others, and the troll especially will always be a contentious space, as whoever gets there first gets to give the other player a shame token, which can really turn the tide as they are worth negative points in the final scoring. But for the most part, the game becomes a contest of who makes the best choices and can maximize their battles.
This is a cool-looking game, loaded with theme. Everything's quality, especially the cards, which feel great and are adorned with some very cool-looking monsters for you to slaughter mercilessly. The Viking town definitely looks and feels like a Viking town, with huts and hunting grounds and just a rugged Viking feel. And the warriors, although they are just dice, do work well, and they start to feel like warriors, especially when you find yourself punishing the weak after they fail in battle. There are some great longships, some classic wooden meeples, and really cool looking character boards. It's just a nice package that can be judged by its very nice cover.
Speaking of those character cards, there are a lot of little points of variability built into the game, the first of which is your asymmetrical character choice. Each character has a different power and a cool design, and will often change your playstyle at least a little. The markets are also dealt randomly, as are several of the other cards stacks, including, of course, the various monsters. Players also get assigned a random starting quest. All of this, coupled with the inherent variability of how the dice will roll, will make for at least a somewhat different experience each time, although the general goal and path to success will always revolve around slaying some baddies. If you do want a bit more depth, we highly recommend picking up the Valhalla expansion, which is particularly clever. With Valhalla, warriors no longer simply die. Instead, they are sent in glory to the halls of Asgard, where they can be used to complete special quests and defeat epic beasts. This adds a layer of complexity and cuts the pain of getting a slew of bad dice rolls, as defeated warriors can sometimes gain even more points with their valiant deaths. Many see it as a must-own expansion, and it's easy to see why.
Champions of Midgard is really the hybridest of hybrid games, combining Euro mechanics with old-fashioned dice chucking by bouncing back and forth between the two, and the result is a game that is the best of both worlds. I usually steer clear of the randomness of dice, but here, it's not an issue, partly due to the opportunities to mitigate your losses with smart warrior usage, and partly due to the fact that warriors are supposed to fall in these battles, and that's made even easier and better with the excellent Valhalla expansion. The dice also make for an easy entry point for many new gamers who get a taste of worker placement and deeper Euro concepts, but still get to fight stuff by rolling. And even if the two-player game has a little bit less interaction, it still has plenty of fun troll slaying. Champions of Midgard is one of the better choices out there if you want an adventure in a box. And that is it. We'd love to hear your opinion on the game as well as how it stacks up against some of the other Viking-themed games out there. And please do like and subscribe, and hopefully we will see you all next time for another game.